you guys to join as soon as possible so that we can start. I know it's been a long time that I was delaying this particular video. You guys were requesting, and I was also planning to have this video done, but for some reason I couldn't do it. In the meanwhile, let me see who do I have for today. So far, no one. Wow. Am I expecting somebody? So far, no one. Wow. Am I expecting somebody? Waiting. There you go. We've got Sultan. Awesome. Walaikum assalam, brother. I think Sultan, we should wait for a few more people to join and then we can start, right? Would that be okay with you? Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Come on, guys. I'm waiting. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry about that. Actually, the reason why I kept delaying it because I didn't find you guys. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but you guys didn't push me that much to an extent that I mean I feel like doing the session at the earliest. And also, I was traveling a few days back, so I didn't get much of a time to get. I mean, to come online. But still, I'm really sorry about that. Anyways, Sultan, what we can do, if you have any question, do let me know. We can start, and rest of the people can join later on, and I can answer them once they're. Okay, we have got one more. Guild Entrepreneur. Wow, interesting name. Ooh. Govind. Okay. Oh, Govind, I'm having your number, bro. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Anyways, can I have a question from either of you? In the meanwhile, the rest of the people will join. You can start from the beginning actually. So don't run, do not try to run on the questions, or do not try to jump on the questions haphazardly. So start asking from the beginning, like before you travel, once you're landed here, and what you're supposed to do once enrollment and all those things are done. So that is how we can proceed. It will make more sense as well. So can I have a question from either of you? Govind and Sultan. I booked the tickets for 15th September. Wow. Congratulations, Sultan. Is that a question or just an information? My course it is okay. 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 So any concern? Okay, so Govinda, what I'll do, I'll try to answer Sultan first and then I'll come back to your question. Okay, Sultan, please let me know your question or concern. And guys, please be aware that whatever I'm going to share today and whatever I'm going to suggest or guide upon, it's going to be based on my experience, whatever I've experienced so far. So please don't take it as a final word. Try to explore, try to get a confirmation from other sources as well, the genuine sources. Okay, so YouTube should not be a first and last thing for you guys. It's just a platform for you to get started with, or to get some information wherein you can start exploring other things, right? I've done everything already, Sultan. Booked accommodation and all. Wow, Sultan, you're being pro, bro. That is amazing. I haven't find students. I mean, for the last 3 semesters, they keep on struggling, especially for this enrollment part and for the accommodation part. So for you, it sounds really good. What should I do after landing? Okay, so the first thing that you're supposed to do is to go straight to your accommodation, right? Since you have booked one, and get ready with your passport and other documents, the visa document or visa vignette, that is what they call it, the white paper that you must have received along with your visa. So try to get your BRP at the earliest. I'm sure you are aware where your BRP would be collected from, either from the post office, and in case if you have provided the address of the university, you'll have to collect your BRP from the university. But if you are going to the university, I would suggest you to get your enrollment done first, okay? To get your enrollment done, what visa team would be requesting from you is your stamped visa, like the visa with the immigration stamp on it, and along with the visa vignette letter, and yes, confirmation of the enrollment. So you'll have to mail these documents to the visa team before you get your BRP from the visa team of the university. But for for the post office, you can just go straight and produce your passport and the visa, and then you can collect your BRP card. So that should be the first thing that you should do, okay? Apart from getting your accommodation done and all those things. Farringdon Post Office. Wow, this is strange. For last semester, it was at Stratford. I don't know why Farringdon. Because what they do, they usually provide your BRP to the nearest post office, and to our university and to YSJ. I believe you are from YSJ, so it should be Stratford. Can you please cross check it once? Oh, okay, okay, got it, Sultan. Okay, that makes sense. So you'll be going to the Farringdon. So that is where I collected my BRP from. So it makes sense. And I remember you told me that it's quite close to the central London. It is in central London. Okay, so Govind, do I have any question from you? I believe currently I'm having doubt on. Okay, Govind, what doubt do you have on enrollment part? Yes, Sultan, it is zone one. Central London is all zone one. Govind, can you please come up with your question, please? And I would appreciate if you guys can ping in the WhatsApp group or the group that you have joined, so as to let other know that we are going live and we can have question answer session right now. That'll be more fruitful, I believe, because we'll be having more questions and more clarity to all of you. Govind, I'm waiting for a question from your end. Sultan, in the meanwhile, if you have any further question, please let me. I mean, please keep it in your mind, or you can write it somewhere so that you don't miss it before we conclude the session. Okay, a lot of doubt, but currently for. Yeah, Govind, I kept telling you guys that keep writing your questions so that you don't miss anything before you start your journey. So okay, so if I have to tell you about the enrollment, what you're supposed to do, just keep a check on your registered email ID, the email that you have registered initially with the university for the admission purpose. You must have received a few links completing your enrollment, creating your IT account, and all those things. So you'll have to follow those links, get the enrollment done, or at least the formalities done for the enrollment part. And what else? Yes, you need to create your IT account as well. Your IT account is going to be your email ID that you're going to use once you land here. Okay, so keep everything ready before you come here, so that the only thing that remains of utmost importance is to collect your BRP before you start your semester. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Govind. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Anyways, try to figure some questions out. Govind, come on. Sultan, maybe two, three, four, five, 10, multiple questions, whatever you have. Sultan. Just take passport and office and collect. Yes, so Sultan, they'll be asking your accommodation address and for your passport and the visa vignette letter that you have received along with your visa from your respective country. So please carry all these document and information. They are going to ask for it, and then you can collect your BRP. I'm sure you are aware of it that your BRP, once your visa has been issued, from that day onwards, within 10 days, your BRP would become available at the respective place, either at university or at the nearest post office of your university. After paying fees. Okay, so once you have done, I mean, once you have paid the fees, you should be receiving an acknowledgement either from the university or from the portal. I believe there has to be a portal wherein you'll be receiving an acknowledgement that you have paid the fees. It should mention your. I'm talking about the initial deposit that you are going to pay, as mentioned on your conditional offer letter or on the cash letter. So you'll be receiving an acknowledgement for the same with your name on it as well as your student ID or the caste number, I believe. But it should have your so as to have a confirmation that yes, you are the one who has paid the fees for towards your tuition. And I'm telling you, whatever you are doing, wherever, I mean, whatever portal you are accessing and trying to fill in information or submit information or completing your enrollment part, I would strongly suggest you to keep a screenshot of everything ready with you so as to avoid any confusion later on, either with the officials at the university or somewhere else. So sometimes what happens, you complete a process and then the other side says you haven't done so. So at least once you have a screenshot of everything ready, you can tell them that this is what this is what I've done and this is the confirmation. So keep everything on record and ready to be produced. What is this? Visa fees. Oh, so if you're going to pay the fees, wherever you pay the fees, there has to be, either you get an acknowledgement, or what happens, you get a payment confirmation or a confirmation of whatever process you have completed. So try to take a screenshot of that in case if you have not received an acknowledgement. Okay. So before you close that page, take a screenshot, keep ready with you, and save it somewhere. And I'm sure if you're paying the fees, you should be receiving an acknowledgement for sure. Is that clear with you? Anything else? Please let me know if that is clear regarding your fees payment thing. And yeah, that was the last question. Come on, guys, come on. I'm waiting for the questions, some relevant questions. Can you please tell how to look for accommodation and what areas are near to the university? Okay, so if it is about the YSJ, I would suggest anywhere in East London should be fine. And even if you don't get, accommodation in East London, what I would suggest, try to look for something reasonable, even if it's far. Like even if you have to travel maybe for 1.5 hour or 2 hours, it should be fine because finding an accommodation near university is pretty challenging or a daunting task. And not just that, but it is really expensive. So I'm sure you won't, I mean, you wouldn't like to pay that much of money towards your accommodation, because especially at the initial, I mean, if you are running on budget, don't try to look for accommodation near to the university. It's going to be expensive, or you won't find it. Either of two will happen. And as far as finding accommodation is concerned, so I believe I'm sure I've made a video on my channel. It's there regarding accommodation. You can go through it, but for now I can brief you. Spare Room is one of the platform. Zoopla is another one. um, Facebook Marketplace is a good one as well. So these are three, and there are plenty actually. There are plenty. I'm not getting the name of all the platforms, but there are plenty. Spare Room is quite famous. Facebook Marketplace is good if you want to get in touch with the landlords directly, the private landlords, not the agents. Spare Room, you'll find agents as well as private landlords. Then Zoopla is there, and Right to Move is there as well. There you go. And there are other platforms. You can try to Google it, and also you can go back to my channel once this session is done, and you can go through the video that I've made specifically meant for accommodation, finding an accommodation, and what are the expenses that you are supposed to bear once you find an accommodation. Okay, so it depends. Again, it depends, brother. It depends on what sort of accommodation you are looking for and what sort of property that you are interested in, depending upon the area as well. So, but anyways, if I have to provide you with a range, it's going to be a very broad window. So it's starting from anywhere between 300 or 350 pounds per month, including utilities, going anywhere close to 1,000 or 1,200 pounds per month, including utilities. But again, it depends the area as well as the property that you are looking for. If you are okay with sharing the room with somebody, you might end up paying just 300 or 350 for a month. If you want a separate room or an individual room, you might have to pay anywhere close to 450 to 600 or maybe 700 also. And if you're not interested in sharing the room with anybody, or maybe you are interested in getting an ensuite, or what do you call it, a studio, then you might end up paying much more than that. I mean, anyway, between 800 pounds or 850 pounds to close to 1300 or 1400 pounds per month. Yes, it can be done. Hima, dependent and student can apply together for the visa. There is no restriction and there is no rule as such that you are not supposed to apply together, at least what I know. So there is no problem with that. What about York City? What do you want to know about the York City, bro? If you can be specific with your question. For BRP collection, what else to take with the visa? It has to be your passport and the address, a local address they're going to ask for. Nothing else. Just carry documents, whatever you are going to carry during your travel. That is what they're going to ask for. Yes, you can cook. So what the situation is like here, that you might get, definitely you can get a single room or an individual room or a private room, but for the kitchen and for the bathroom, especially if you are living in a shared accommodation, you'll certainly have to share the kitchen with other people or the other tenants. If you're not interested in sharing, I've told you, either you can go for a studio flat or maybe 1 BHK, 2 BHK, depending upon your budget or your preferences. Yes, for the York City, brother, I don't have much idea about the York City, but what I've got to know, because I've visited York campus maybe around 2 times or 3 times, but I've got to know that finding an accommodation in York campus as well is pretty challenging, especially for the international students. So even I've heard that few of the students, those who study in York, the main campus, they are residing in Leeds. So they travel from Leeds to the York. So you really got to be pro when you're finding an accommodation, or if you're coming here, and be careful if you're coming along with your dependents. I would suggest you come here first. The primary applicant should come first, and once you are done with your accommodation and everything, then you can bring on your dependents, your spouse or your kids. I've seen people struggling. They are, literally scrolling on roads, finding an accommodation, especially if they are here with their dependents. So situation is, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to tell you that the situation is not so easy when it comes to anything, be it your job, your accommodation, starting with the university and all that. It's going to be a challenge for sure. But yes, I mean, I've heard from Sultan and that he's all set with his accommodation and everything, so which is pretty good. Ask at London airport. Okay. Okay, so I've told this thing in the beginning because I'm not an immigration expert, or whatever I'm sharing over here. It's based on my experience and whatever I know so far. So please don't restrict to what I say or what I suggest or whatever I share over here. But yes, when it comes to immigration, what happened in my case, at least it happened a couple of times. So what they're going to ask you is that what program you are here for, which university, who is paying for your tuition fees or living expenses, how you are going to survive, are you going to stay here once you're done with your degree, and what you have done in the past. In case if you have worked, they might even ask where did you work last and what was your job profile and how is it going to help you with the degree that you have come here for. all these basic questions, nothing too technical, I would say. I mean, you just have to be really calm and composed, be prepared with the responses. Do not try to, remember everything. It can be a spontaneous question into, so the response should be a natural one and the spontaneous one too. And again, I would say that I made a video specifically for this particular topic, so you can go back to my channel once this session is done, and you can refer to the questions or the guidance that I've tried to provide on that video. And it's not just about London airport, brother. I mean, it could be for any airport, any country. These questions, especially if you are coming here as a student, it's going to be pretty generic in nature and straightforward questions. What they want to see is your communication skills, how confident you are, and whether you are aware about your situation as an immigrant over here. So they might even ask you, are you aware about your visa restriction? So they might even ask this question too. But basically, it's all going to be about your academics, what you have done in the past, how is it going to help you, whether you are going to stay over here or not, and your tuition fees, who is going to pay your tuition fees and living expenses. What else? These are 4 or 5 questions, I mean, which you should be expecting anyhow. But during the entire process, I would suggest you to stay very confident, very calm, and do not pretend as if you know everything, and do not, don't get too anxious, you know. So, and yes, when it comes to immigration, I would, before I forget, I would suggest you guys always keep your documents handy in terms of, don't try to burden yourself with all sort of documents and paperwork in your hand. Just keep basic documents: your passport, your visa vignette letter, the white paper, and maybe your academic credential and professional experience letter. So just keep all these things ready with you, just in case if the immigration officer is going to ask you, you should be able to pick the paper or pick the document and show it to them. You shouldn't be in a situation wherein you start struggling to find the paper, or where it is and where did I keep it, or something, right? So please don't be in that situation. If you are lucky enough, you might be standing in front of the immigration officer just for 2 to 3 minutes maximum. And if they start grilling you, or maybe they start asking you questions, you might have to. It could be anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes. So I've seen all those situations, because when I came over here last year, so I see they were asking too many questions from some students, and some of the students were getting relieved in just 2 or 3 minutes maximum. And same was the case with me. I standed in front of the immigration officer just for 2 minutes, exactly 2 minutes, I would say. Anyways, any other questions do we have? Do we have, when we get a single room, whether we can cook? Okay, I believe I've answered the question regarding this cooking thing. Anything to be careful when online enrollment? Okay, this is a good question. I was expecting something like this. So yes, you should be careful. I mean, when it comes to your, because it has your visa implications, right? So try to be careful, and if you are really not sure of anything, either, I mean, try to get some guidance, either with your, just in case if you've got your application done by an agent, either with the agent or with the admission team at the university. Or if you are so unsure, what I can suggest you, try to give your best estimate or the best guess, and get the enrollment done. I would suggest, because I've seen students struggling over here. When they come here, they get stuck with their job thing, they get stuck with their accommodation thing, they get stuck with their enrollment. And during this all this process, they don't realize that their semester is going to start, or has started already. So they, everything get messed up for them, and they don't know which thing to be given priority, like either for accommodation, or for the classes, for the seminars, assignments, and all those things. So yes, try to fill in most of the information in on your enrollment portal, I would suggest. And as I said, I mean, if you get stuck somewhere and you want to get the enrollment done, try to take a screenshot of that and send it to the admission, or your what did I say? Yes, your agent, and get the confirmation from them, and just get the information filled in the enrollment portal. Okay, we have got Unique Studio. Wow. You guys have a question. If I didn't book any accommodation, and at arrival time, immigration officer will ask you, will you have? Okay, so that is going to be a certain question for sure. I mean, if they have to ask you, you'll have to provide a response. You just can't say no. I haven't booked my tickets. I haven't booked my accommodation. I'm sorry. So I would suggest try to get at least initial accommodation booked somewhere. If you are unable to find a private landlord or an accommodation by agent, you can go for Airbnb for a week or two maybe, just to get yourself settled and collect your documents and start preparing for your semester. In the meanwhile, you can start looking for accommodation, but at least you should have at least one initial address before you come here. If you know somebody, it's good, and it's good. But if you don't know anybody, then university is your best bet, I would say. But you should be able to tell them where are you going to stay and where are you going from the airport. It's not going to be a problem with them, the immigration officer. It's not going to be a problem. Wherever you are going to stay, you should be aware of it. That is the expectation from you. In case if they're going to ask you about your accommodation, just in case if you are studying in London and you're providing an address outside London, then it might be a question how you're going to commute, how you're going to travel there. So in that case, I would suggest don't try to be in a situation wherein you end up staying outside London while you are studying in London. So please don't do that, because commute is really expensive, and once your session start with your seminar, with your classes, and definitely you'll be doing the part-time job. So it is going to be a very tight situation for anybody. So you really got to be mindful of this situation. But yes, for the initial few days, it could be anywhere. I mean, it could be outside London, it could be even outside England. So that is not going to be a concern, as long as you know and you are so comfortable that yes, once I'm settled, I'll be shifting back to London so that I can have my classes and seminars done. Anything else, guys? Hope I've answered the question. I'm expecting few more questions regarding pertaining to the university thing. The visa and all those things are pretty generic in nature. Either your agent or yourself should be aware of all those things, but still I won't mind answering those questions. But I'm expecting something from the university part or from the academic, something related to academics. If not, I don't see too many people today. Okay, I can do a live session again, maybe next time or next week, and I'll have to do it for sure. I'll have to do it because I don't think we are going to cover almost everything today. I was expecting much more than what I have so far as audience, because the more we have, the more questions we get, and it becomes really helpful for everybody. Come on, guys, ask me questions. I'm gonna leave 4%. Is that concerning? As long as you're not going to disclose it to anybody, it should be fine, because it's between you and the landlord or the agent. So I don't think it's it is a problem. But unless I don't think these questions they'll be asking these questions. I mean, I didn't get your point. Are you asking this question from the visa perspective, from the immigration perspective, or like in general? Can you please clarify it? Who are you? Sultan, yes, Sultan. Can you please clarify your question once? And guys, since Sultan has asked this question, I would strongly suggest you guys to be mindful of your visa restrictions, visa obligations, and what your do's and what your don'ts are, as long as you are here in UK, because situation is not so easy, especially for the international students, as they see when they are in their own country. So whatever you watch on YouTube videos, or you read somewhere, or your agents tell you, it is not exactly what you what you watch and what you hear from others. So at least for me, I have not violated my visa restrictions or visa obligations ever. I've been to US and now I'm in UK. So just stay safe with your visa thing. Do not try to violate any rules, any rule. be it when it comes to your job thing, when it comes to your anything. It could be anything. Sultan, did I answer your question? I'm waiting for your reward, Sultan. If you're getting me. Sorry. It is a good question, Sultan, but if you can please clarify your question once, I would be in a better situation to answer it. Come on, guys. I need questions. I need questions. I know I'm not an expert, but the whole purpose of having this live session is to help each other, asking questions and getting a revert, or at least getting guidance on those questions. So at least you're prepared somehow, you feel confident, you feel comfortable. It's not everything that we are going to discuss over here, or it's not everything that you should be relying on, but at least you have a base, and you get some information to start with. And since I'm here, I can provide you with a real-time situation, what the situation is at this point in time. So please ask questions if you can. In fact, you have to. So just in case if I'm not getting any question, what I'll do, I'll conclude this session for today, maybe next 5 or 10 minutes, and then we can have another session next week, anytime depending upon your availability. Any day, sorry, not anytime, but any day. Sultan, I'm still stuck with your question. So guys, would you be okay if I conclude this session in the next 5 or 10 minutes? Or should I expect more questions from your end? Okay, in general. Okay. I'm sorry, Sultan, I missed it from your end. Okay. Yeah, in general. So Sultan, it's a thing between, I mean, how confident you are having it booked for two people and then staying four together. So it all depends on you, how you're going to manage it. But if it's not allowed, it's better not to take a chance. But having said that, come over here and you would get to know what is the real situation and how people are surviving. Okay, is there a limit that we should only do 4 hours? No, no, no. So it has nothing to do with what you can do in a day. I mean, but yes, during the term time, that means you are not on a break and your session is going on. You cannot work more than 20 hours a week. So it could be just 2 days with 10-hour shift. It could be 4 days with 5-hour shift. It could be 5 days with 4-hour shift. It could be 10 days. It could be anything. But it has to do with a weekly thing. It is not on a daily basis. Okay, so don't worry about that. No, Sultan. So then I don't think they are going to ask you. I mean, these much of details at the immigration at the port of entry about your accommodation. What they want to know is where you are going to stay. You are aware of it, and how you're going to commute from there. That is it. Yes, you can. Govind, you can do that. As I said, 10-hour shift twice in a week you can do and complete your 20 hours. Unique Studio has asked me a question. I'm sorry, Unique Studio. What was your question? I was staying with cousin for a few days until unless I sort out this matter personally. Yes, I answered this question. So you can stay wherever you want during the initial days. That is not a problem. But you should be aware of that you'll have to commute to the campus either for your seminars, for your classes, whatever. You should be aware of that. Okay, so yes, this is a good question. Kanishka? Yes, Kanishka. This is a good question. So, what I would suggest, whatever you want to wear, you can wear over here. But since you will be having presentations or seminars, I would suggest to bring at least a pair of formal clothes. I mean, when I say formal, it could be a pant and shirt, or not or but and a suit. It could be two-piece or three-piece suit, depending upon your preference. But yes, please bring at least a couple of formal wear. It could be used during your interviews for the jobs. It could be used during the seminars, during the presentations at the university. So I brought at least 4 or 5 pairs. So you are coming here for, I believe you most of you must be coming here for MBA. So it is expected from the MBA students. So please bring at least couple of a pair, 2 pair, yes, 2 pairs of formal clothes. Working hours are strict to follow anything about extras. Sultan, actually, this is not a good question, and this is not a good platform to ask this question. And in fact, you shouldn't be asking this question at first place. The reason why, as I said in the beginning, you really got to be mindful of your visa restrictions and obligations. People do n number of things, but don't consider them as an example of what you can do too. What I would suggest, stick to your 20 hours limit, because that is what is expected of you as an immigrant or as an international student. So stick to those 20 hours. And yes, since you are saying for extra hours, I would say that please don't rely on part-time jobs over here, at least for a couple of months, initial couple of months. So always have a buffer money. So whatever you have paid towards your tuition fees, you should be having money to pay the rest of your tuition fees, as well as money to survive it for 2 to 3 months in the beginning, because you just can't expect that once you land over here you'll find a job. I mean, which happens for some, but I mean, it doesn't happen for most of the students, and they start struggling. They keep asking for money from the people they know, or even if they don't know, and they land themselves in trouble. So please don't do that. I would strongly suggest to bring at least 3 to 4 months of buffer money towards your living expenses. I'm not saying for tuition fees. You need to bring your tuition fees, the remaining amount, anyhow, because you're going to pay for it. If you don't pay, university might end up withdrawing you from the program. And if once the university does that, that means you are no more a student, and the university is your primary sponsor over here. So if your sponsor is withdrawing you from the program, that means your visa is at risk. So please don't do that. Sultan, please be mindful of what I've said, because you have asked something about extra hours. Need a blazer? Yes, you can bring a blazer. I love those. I love blazers. I bring two. I brought two. I'm sorry. I brought two. You can bring a blazer, a couple of shirts and pants, formal pants. Health and social care management. What are the possible scopes after masters? Ha, Sultan. Possible scope. See, I would say this is a country for opportunities. That is for sure. But finding a job, either it's a part-time job or a full-time job, is going to be a challenge, especially as an international student or as an immigrant. So for some people, I'm not saying, I mean, we can't generalize it. Most of the students struggle to find a job. It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. They do get jobs over here, because there are plenty of jobs. But expecting something like this, oh, once you're done with whatever degree, masters, MBA, MSc, and banking, whatever, and you are good for a job, and the employers or the recruiters would be running after you since you have done your masters from UK. So this is not going to be a case for sure. So please don't expect things to be really straightforward. Oh, you came here, you got a part-time job, you started your academics, you got good grades. I mean, I hope you get a good grades. But once you're done with your degree, oh, I'm going to get a good job as well. So that doesn't happen for most of the students. I'm not saying for everybody, but at least for most of the students, you might have to be really, really smart with your job applications, and you need a luck as well, for sure. You need luck to get a good job, or to get a job what you are interested in, at least to survive initially. And if you are coming on a placement year, those who are coming on placement year, for example, those there are people who come just for a 1 year degree and then they get go for their post study work permit or graduate visa. That is what they are calling these days, to PSW. So for them, as well as for those who are coming on a placement year, that means 1 year academics and 1 year in the industry, they might have a good possibility and to get to get a good job in the sense like if you are able to find a placement year or the year in industry wherein you you start working for an employer that you think or they think that you can continue with them once you're done with your degree. So it is really going to be beneficial for those who are coming on placement year. But again, finding a job, finding placement, finding a part-time job, everything is going to be a challenge. Nothing is going to come easy, for sure. Welcome week, awesome. So welcome week, you'll be provided with you'll be having a few sessions wherein you'll be provided with information about the university, university culture, the academics, do's and don'ts, about the infrastructure, about your tutors, who is going to be your tutor in case if you find it challenging or you are having trouble with whatever related to your academics. So that is pretty much like a surety that is going to happen. Apart from that, the university does organize, and it also depends on the university that you are a part of. But for YSJ, what they do, they what they've done for the past 2 or 3 semesters, they've organized boat and bus ride in central London, wherein you'll have to get the tickets booked. You'll be receiving email on your registered email ID to get the to book the tickets, and you can be a part of the group wherein you'll be going to the central London, visiting all those attractions, London Eye, Big Ben, and all those attractions on Thames River in central London. So that is more of a thing during the welcome week. Apart from that, the welcome week runs for at least for a week time. So and everybody would get a chance to be on campus and see what the university is all about and what the academic is going to be like, what is life about outside academics. So Kanishka, I hope I've answered your question. So this is more or less like it. And again, for this welcome week, I've made a video. It's on my channel again. Please watch it. Please watch it once. I have a good experience in healthcare. How are the chances for me to get a part time in NHS? Okay, Holmes. See, Sultan, brother, even I've got experience. I've got 5 years of 5 or 6 years of work experience working within the healthcare industry. For some people, it's really easy for them to get a job, and not easy, but they get a job in just 1 month or 2 months. But for some, it may take 2 to 3 months, 4 months, 5 months even. So it does happen. I'm not saying, I'm not denying the fact that you won't get a job or you won't get a job in NHS per se. But yes, expecting something really positive right from the time you arrive or you apply would be I mean, I won't recommend it. So not just NHS key, I mean, you'll have to explore other platforms as well. NHS, I know NHS is the biggest employer as far as healthcare is concerned, but there are other organizations and other healthcare settings wherein you can apply for jobs. So please try to explore all those options. You can Google it. It's on, I mean, information is plenty of information is available on online on in the internet. So please explore it, not just get yourself stuck to the NHS thing. I believe you are from homeopathy background, right, Sultan, if I'm not wrong. So try to explore, the kind of profiles that they are having and try to complement. I mean, try to see if you fit in somewhere and look for those opportunities specifically. Yes. Okay. Yes. Hope I've answered your question to an extent. I know, I mean, I don't want to elaborate on it because you're asking for how good are the chances. I don't want to comment on, I don't want to comment something like this. Oh, you have a very bright chances of getting a good job in NHS, or you don't have a chance. So it depends on the kind of profile that you're applying for, your luck, and the timing that you're applying. So it all depends on, and also sometimes, what happens, you get a good job and they're expecting you to commit full time or more than 20 hours a week, which you can't do on a study visa, right? So that is where it becomes tricky for some of the students. I've seen some of the students have got a really good job in NHS or NHS associated settings, but unfortunately because of this 20 hours work restriction, they couldn't be on board with the NHS or the other organization. So it depends. I'm former D graduate, and can I get any part-time in healthcare? You can certainly get. I'm not saying that you guys won't get job. You can get job wherever you want. I mean, it could be pharmaceutical, it could be bank, it could be healthcare, hospitals, home care settings. It could be anything like hospitality, hotel industry, and all those things. You can get a good. I mean, you can get a job, but what I'm trying to stress upon is that it's not going to be easy these days. We have loads of international students, their dependents already in the country. So finding a job, even if there is a job, I mean, the jobs come and go very quickly. Either, and if there are jobs, you don't match up with the timings, you don't match up with the hours that you can commit, and and what they are expecting from you. So I'm sorry, I got lost somewhere. Yes, so if you're asking that, can you get a good job? Yes, you can get a good job. I'm not saying that you won't get it. You will certainly get a good job provided how patient you are. I've seen someone from pharmacy background working for KFC as a delivery person. I've seen somebody from banking sector working in a merchandising store. So if you're not being patient, if you're not coming with buffer money with you, you'll have to start working somewhere, and that is where problem occurs. When I came here, I had to wait for almost 2 months for the job that I was looking for. In the meanwhile, I mean, I just kept patient for some time, not going for the jobs that I was not interested in, and not going for the jobs that are not going to help me, at least not going to put some relevance on my resume. So I waited for almost 2 months, 48 days to be very precise. I went without a job for 48 days, and after 48 days, I got a job that I was looking for, or at least it can put some weightage on my resume. And since then, I've been working for the company. So I didn't change my job ever since I came over here. Although now looking for something else, but I've seen people, those who don't come prepared, and those who are not being patient, and they don't have money, buffer money with them, they start working randomly somewhere because they'll have to start working, right? As a month remain to move London, what are your advice to do in month? Acclimatize. You cannot acclimatize yourself unless you are in the country, right, Sultan? You're from healthcare background. You must have studied science, right? So you get acclimatized to the situations, to the weather, and all other things when you are actually in the situation, when you are facing the situation. But yes, come be prepared. You are coming for September intake. When it comes to clothing, be prepared, just to be prepared accordingly. Okay, so bring in some good clothes, good quality clothes which can bear the harsh winters over here. It gets windy, it gets rainy, it is harsh winters too. So you should be having at least 2 or 3 pairs of jackets, good jacket with hoodie, I would say, because umbrella doesn't work over here. And for food items, you can you can bring whatever you want. But as far as London is concerned, you will get everything over here. It doesn't matter which country you are from, you'll get everything to eat, everything to buy from different stores. And as far as academics is concerned, you're not supposed to bring in any books and all those things. I believe one of the student asked me if I'm supposed to bring the books, the hard copy of the books uh, from the previous degree that they have done. So there is no need for that. And what else, Sultan? I think this should be it. I mean, it's all food, it's your clothing, and rest for the documentation thing. I've already discussed what you're supposed to do once you land over here, your BRP thing. Yes, you can go for NHS. You'll have to apply for the NHS registration. You'll be provided with some registration number so that you can avail NHS facilities. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough for you to, just in case, emergency are not going to provide you with a information in advance. They are not going to come being informed. So for those situations, you should, once you collect your BRP, the next target for you guys should be to get yourself registered with the nearest GP or the local GP, get your NHS registration done, open your bank account, and what else? NI number. the most important thing for all of you. National insurance number you'll have to apply, because you can't go for a job without having an NI number. So please have it ready with you, and you can have all these things once you land here. You can't apply for NI when before coming to the UK. You cannot apply for a bank account before coming to the UK. And yes, you cannot apply for the GP registration or for the local GP before you are I mean, unless you are here. And what else? I was talking something about bank. Yes, so if you guys can do bring a forex card with you, so that you can in London, as far as London is concerned, you don't have any problem paying by card. So please bring in some. If you are not bringing cash, you can bring some forex card with you, so that you can travel. I mean, because in here in London, for buses, for trains, trails, and other mode of transport, a card should be fine. A card with a Wi-Fi facility on it. So make sure it has that Wi-Fi thing printed on the card. Otherwise, it's not going to work here. So please bring some. Please bring. Try to bring some forex card with you with some money on it. I mean, so that you can bear your expenses for a month or two, maybe. Hope that makes sense. Do I have any other questions? Should I stop applying for it? Yes, you can. There is no harm, because it's just 1 month left. Technically, not even a month. So you can start applying for a job. Getting a revert, getting a confirmation, hiring process is quite cumbersome here. It's not that straightforward. You apply, you get a job. There are multiple phases, multiple stages. So you should start applying for a job. And yes, guys, those of you, I mean, if you can, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mention it earlier. So those of you who will be going for the visa thing, they can get a free SIM card from the VFS office, from their respective VFS offices, and that SIM card is good for at least a month. It has a month's validity with some talk time, international minutes as well, messages, everything is there. So if you can have that SIM card with you, it could be from Lebara, Laika. Mostly, I've seen these two SIM cards being provided by the VFS centers. So you can bring those SIM cards with you, and it's all pre-activated. So once you land in here, you can just insert your SIM card and start, communicating with people you want to communicate with. Anything else, guys? Anything else? Come on. I started getting some questions. Sultan, Gobind, and who else is there? Hima. Guys, so what I'll do, I'll conclude this session in next 5 minutes, and I assure you that we are going to have one more session, at least one more session. And I would also request you, I'll drop in a message in the group also, that please come prepared with your questions, because one person cannot ask every question. So I would suggest you guys to keep writing your questions, whatever you have, so that once you land in here or before you travel, you're confident about everything, that what you're going to face, what you're going to prepare for, what you're going to see or experience, right? And I would expect you guys to be asking questions related to academics more, rather than these jobs and accommodation thing. I know accommodation is quite critical, so I won't mind answering those questions, but I should be expecting questions from academics more. And I would also like to discuss a few things that you should anticipate from September onwards or from January onwards. I'm not making those pre-recorded videos these days. I believe doing more live sessions, so that it is more productive and it is more interactive, to me at least. So guys, please let me know if you have any question now. Sultan. Attendance. Okay, good question. How is university monitoring attendance? Yes, so the the attendance monitoring system is all online. Depending upon which university you are in, some of the universities give you the cards, the university cards or the ID cards. You tap in, it marks your attendance. Some of the universities have this thing uh, as a practice, that you attend the session, you are in the session, and you'll be provided with the attendance code or the registration code. So you register uh, using that code on some university application or university portal. For YSJ, it is my YSJ app. I'll drop in a link of this app in the group, so you guys can download it and you will get to see what the interface looks like and what sort of information is available and what you can do with the app. So it's all going to be online for sure, unless there is some technical glitch. It could be manual at times, but yes, attendance is quite mandatory with the university. I know there are some universities, not universities, but I know people believe in in a situation wherein they can come to the university, or even if they are not coming to the university, they'll get the attendance, which is not going to be the case, and which is not the case actually. If you're doing it, you are in trouble. So please don't do that. Please avoid that. Do not rely on a third person's information saying, who's saying that okay, even if you're not coming to the university, you are still good with your attendance and you can do whatever you want even if you're not coming to the university. So I won't suggest. Please don't rely. Please don't do that. Please don't follow what they say. At least of such things. You really got to be mindful of your attendance. Be strict with your attendance. As I said in the beginning, it has everything to do with your visa thing, right? So it could have some visa implications in the future. I don't want to suggest, I mean, I don't want to discuss all those things over here, but yes, please be mindful of your attendance. Anything else? Kanishka, hope I've answered your question. Can you please confirm if that is what you were asking for? Come on, guys. Maybe 4 more minutes. I'll have to conclude this session. Let's check one more time if I have any question. Nope, no more questions. So guys, thank you so much for joining the session. What I would suggest, please join the session next time when I do it, and please come up with your questions. And if you can ask your friends to join the session and ask them to have their questions ready, it is going to help everybody. So please do that. And with this, I would suggest and I would say that stay happy, healthy, and safe. And hopefully, we'll meet soon. Am I expecting anything? No, there's nothing. So, with this, I would like to conclude this session and we'll meet next time soon. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.